So from the airport, it wasn't too much of a drive. We got a private transfer and it was about 20 to 25 minutes. And as you can see, there is still a bit of damage from the hurricane that was, I think, yesterday or the day before, so we got lucky a bit with that. The check-in process wasn't too bad, but no one really explained anything to us, so we were pretty much left to fend for ourselves, so I don't really mind that too bad, so we just had a wander around the resort. When you arrive, the check-in process is quite quick, and you and your bags are whisked away to your room on a golf buggy. Something to note, if you stay at Punta Cana, Royalton or Punta Cana Splash, you have joint access to both hotels' amenities, and it only takes about 1 to 2 minutes walk between them. They do have a shuttle bus that will take you every maybe 5 to 10 minutes, but to be fair, you're best just walking. I'm going to try and review every aspect quickly for you, talking about the food, bars, pools, beach, rooms, staff, entertainment, and the option of the Diamond Club, which we'll get into a bit later. For the majority of this review, we'll be looking at Punta Cana Splash, that's where we stayed, but we will cover most of the amenities of Royalton Punta Cana. The rooms are very good, there's plenty of space, and they're very clean. Air conditioning is great, and I'm tempted to steal the pillows because they're stupidly comfortable. The mini fridge is already pre-stocked with drinks and beer and sodas, some which are diet, which is good for me, and bottled water. We just chose the basic room option, but you can upgrade to have jacuzzis and swim-up rooms if you so choose. There are no room cards, you're given an RFID bracelet and this opens the room door for you. It's quite handy actually, as you never have to remember your room card, and it works quite effectively. Although we were told when we checked in that it would cost, I think, was it $5 or $15 if you lose the bracelet. The Wi-Fi in the resort is somewhat very impressive. You get good connection pretty much everywhere you are on the resort, with the exemption of some areas on the beach. So let's get crack on and talk about the food. The food situation, unfortunately, is quite poor. It's frustrating because the ingredients are good and they have the facilities to provide a better eating process. The buffet restaurant is not open for lunch nor evening meals during the week, only on weekends and the Friday. So you have the option of eating at the Italian or Mexican restaurant on the resort, or if you're really desperate, resort to the room service, which we will talk about shortly. There is a timetable of when the restaurants are open and closed, however this is not accurate and most of the snack daytime facilities were closed for the duration of our stay, despite being advertised as open. And one of them had precaution tape around it. I'm not quite sure. It was open for the first day we arrived, and then after that it was closed for 10 days. So if you're peckish at lunchtime, the option is to queue 20 minutes for a burger from the pool barbecue, or pretty much tough shit. Again, you can always order room service, which we will talk about shortly. But let's get down and talk specifically about each restaurant at Punta Cana Splash. So let's talk about the buffet breakfast. It is quite quiet if you go around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. We saw lots of queues around 9. They have great selection of everything really, and lots of stations where you can even order and customise your own dish. Say if you liked eggs a certain way or omelettes, and they even had this giant honeycomb, which I thought was quite cool. And obviously, if you know me, I had a cheese sandwich every day and tried some sausage and mash, but was left pleasantly or unpleasantly disappointed. The Italian restaurant, a bit of an intro trap. We noticed most people that arrived in the resort, this is where they went after their late arrival, because it's the first place you see. I thought when we did a segment on Ask Italian that I could not have possibly ever had a rival contender for the worst carbonara I have ever been served. We have a winner here because it's absolutely tasteless. It needed salt. The pasta was not really cooked, more like Play-Doh like, and instead of pancetta, literally there were slices of cooked ham, like the sort that you would buy in Asda for $1 for 20 and put in your sandwiches. The pizzas are good though. I would just avoid any pasta dish here, or for that matter, anywhere in the resort. We ate here a few times, and it was this or the sweaty room service. And we tried a lot of dishes here, and I was never impressed with the pasta. I tried a pasta pesto, and it was so oily, it gave me the about 15 minutes after I ate it. So pizza good, pasta bad. They do have a buffet bar for snacks, nibbles and garlic bread, so hey ho. They do have a place called Bites, which is meant to be the burger place where you can get chips, hot dogs and cheeseburgers anytime you want, pretty much during the day. We only went once, and then it was surrounded by caution tape, and it had been for a few days. The burgers were good, but they had no cheese, like literally no cheese for the burger. And they had no chips as the fryer was broken. So, quite brilliant there. The cafe. So good if you want a coffee or mint ice cream. Advertised as having 26 flavours, they only actually had pistachio or mint. So, no joy there. I got a sandwich here. They have a few sandwichy options, but they're a bit stodgy. It's like the bread you'd get at an Oxo or a 7-Eleven. But if you're starving, maybe it's a good head. Randomly, and we don't know where it's posted, they have barbecues by the pool. The food here is absolutely great and amazing, and they do chicken, pork, steaks and sausages, with a selection of salads, breads, and even nachos and cheese. The tip for here is watch out for the weekends, as the line for a burger can get kind of ridiculous. But you can jump the queue if you're looking for something else, like sausage or chicken. The Mexican, by far the best restaurant on the resort, is pretty accurate for Mexican food. I've lived in Mexico for many years, and this is the most authentic restaurant I think we stayed at. Even Emily tried some, and I have to say though, I wouldn't eat Mexican food over Italian normally, but at least there is plenty flavour here, and I'd give that a 5 out of 5. So the buffet lunch, we only went to the buffet lunch once, as it was only open on a Friday to Sunday. It was insanely busy and we had to queue for a good 15 minutes before being allowed in. I tried some of the pasta, that tasted like Play-Doh. Again, I should have learnt my lesson from the Italian restaurants. I attempted to find some salt and pepper, but I could not locate any. I mean, you'd think that would be basic on the tables, but it's very hard to find salt anywhere. And you'd think you would need it with the food tasting tasteless. So let's go on to the buffet dinner. It was never open for dinner, despite it being advertised as open for many of the nights we stayed. One time we went and there was a staff party in there, so we couldn't go in, and we had to either choose again the Italian or the Mexican restaurant. So we come to the sports bar at the Royalton. Punta Cana, there is a sports bar that serves snack foods. We tried it for lunch and we tried their fish and chips with some sort of cheese chippy dips with gravy. Much to our enjoyment, the food was served hot, and we dined at this bar pretty much for every meal after we discovered it. The Royalton burger should have come with bacon, and the chips were not even warm, but better than the room service at Splash Resort. But we had the Royalton burger a few times, and to be fair, it was okay, but when you compare it to the rest of the food at the resort, it was a breath of fresh air. So I'd give it, a good 4 out of 5. The room service, like most of the Royalton, is well orientated and organised and easy to use. Use it through your TV and your remote, almost filling you with a false sense of hope that everything's going to go okay. So when you order through your TV with your remote, you'll get a phone call to your room, pretty much confirming what you've ordered. However, they sort of just will go and then hang up the phone. So pretty much they don't really give a shit. It's like the guy doing this job, customer service skills is 0. Then it's around 1 hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours till your sweaty, cold, inedible mush will arrive encased in cellophane, and its purpose, presumably to add some musky aroma to the room and hallways, is pretty much lost on me. The room service staff seem embarrassed when they deliver the food and reluctant to accept tips. It's like they'll just want to drop it outside your door, which we've seen happen a few times, and just get the hell out of there because they don't want to deal with the the fallout of what is this shit, pretty much, as if they almost feel sorry for you. We tried the room service 3 times during our stay. The first time it came cold and stale, the second order never arrived, and the third time we ordered, well, we'll have to refer to the first occasion, plus the Sahara-style Subway I received, and Play-Doh chips. So pissed off with this, because this occasion, it was the Italian for the fourth time in a row for food, or we take a room service gamble. So we had little option. I took the food to the main desk, my argument being that if you cannot fulfill a service, just stop advertising it. If you can't, when you book the holiday, it's like 24-hour room service included for all the rooms. That's not normal for a resort to offer, so you're like, oh my god, that's quite amazing, but it wouldn't be a factor on choosing a place over not choosing a place, to be honest. So when you try and use it, it's just literally beyond purpose. They cannot possibly fulfill these orders. They're doing something completely wrong. They don't have the staff, or I don't know what really the reason is, but they need to just stop doing it, because the amount of customer satisfaction that probably arises from the shit food you get isn't really worth the hassle. If you're staying at Royalty and Splash, there is plenty of bar facilities not far from any of the rooms. All the top shelf alcohol is included. You just need to ask for it or tip them quite early on and they give it to you. It's debatable if it is authentic, as the Absolut vodka I got served on arrival was certainly not. You have to ask. If you don't, you will get cheap alternatives. The vodka at some bars tastes like TCP or some weird medicinal alcohol. It's best to ask for some better stuff. Most of the bars open around 10 AM, including the pool bars unless you're a Diamond Club member, where they open around 7 AM. The swim up bars Bubbles and Splash are great. Best to get there earliest, around 12 to 2 in the afternoon, as they can come a bit noisy come the afternoon. Royalton Punta Cana has a beach and swim up pool bar. That is always busy with people ordering cocktails and the staff being generally very slow, so I recommend the 3-minute walk back up to the lobby bar if you're staying at Punta Cana will be a lot quicker to get served. There is a quote-unquote cocktail bar also at Punta Cana Resort, but again, TCP drinks are served. Right, we're moving on to talk about the swimming pools. As pools go, they're as you would expect. They were a little mucky, but that's due to the bad weather that they had a few days ago, and they soon cleared up during our stay. All the pools we went in were the same. The swim up bars open at 10 AM, but they start preparing them as early as 6 AM. Be sure to vacate the pools before 4 PM as they play bingo in every language, and it is very annoying for the 4 people that are playing. So pretty much if you saying, okay, 1 number red, so they'll repeat that, 1 number red, 1 number red, and then in Spanish, una rojo, and then in German and Swahili and French, and no one really wants to play bingo. They should have just taken them somewhere else. If you want to play bingo by the swimming pool, go to the kids club or something. Something to note, there is no alcohol in the water park area. That is worth mentioning. I just snuck in some vodka in my water bottle. Also, you're not allowed mobile phones or cameras down any of the slides, so I didn't partake in the water park aspect of Splash because, well, if I can't drink vodka and I can't go on an adventure and film it down a slide, there isn't much vodka adventure. So we're going to talk about the Diamond Club. It costs on average about $60 per couple to be part of the Diamond Club at the resort. This can be an add-on to your normal room, or it is included if you book a diamond room, but it is the exact same price difference. So if you booked a diamond room twin, it will be the same as a normal room twin, but you will pay £60 extra a night, and that is exactly the same as if you bought just the Diamond Club if you arrived, if that makes any sense. Whether it's worth the upgrade cost is debatable and down to pretty much how you do your holiday. There isn't really much additional benefits. You do get access to a private pool, when in part it's just pretty much adjacent to the Bubbles pool bar, and you do get access to a private lounge near the main reception, which only really would come in handy if you had a very late checkout or very late check-in and you wanted some snack food and drink straight away. In Royalton Punta Cana, there is an additional pool and bar you can use in the beach area that has better seating, but if you're staying there for 11 days with a family, the cost pretty much probably doesn't outweigh the benefits. A couple that would like more privacy, and if you want to chill out on the beach and drink earlier in the day, then that's, I think would be worthwhile doing. But if you've got a family, Diamond Club is pretty much wasted, as In the buffet bar you have a separate seating area, but as we know the buffet bar is never open, so you can't really use that, and when it is, they just sit anyone there anyway, so, and it doesn't really have much of, or if any, added value. So let's talk about the beach. The beach area is quite small and there is a little guarantee that you'll get sat down. I hoped I could have some nice snorkeling, however the visibility was less than 1 meter. There are sellers on the beach with cigars and sunglasses, etc. that can be quite irritating, but it is advised that you do not purchase any tours or excursions offered from the beach, as you'll see in our later videos. Staff will come where you're sat at the beach and take drink orders, which is kind of cool, which means you don't have to queue up or go to the bar. It is worth tipping $1 or $2 each time they come to make sure you get like decent service and decent drinks. Although to be fair, that shouldn't really be standard as you've paid all inclusive, but hey ho. There are also games and activities periodically during the day that guests can take part in, such as beach volleyball, football, and those sort of things. Daytime entertainment is mainly aimed at the kiddies, as the usual you would expect at an all-inclusive resort. The nighttime entertainment is fairly basic. You'll find a solo singer next to the main restaurants, both in the Splash and Beach resorts. I'm no singer, but I think I could give them a run for their money. They do have a sports bar and casino at the Beach resort, and they also have a nightclub too, but I'm never late enough really to check that out. But based on our stay here, I imagine that to be kind of basic too. Towards the end of our stay, we noticed more group nighttime activities going on, such as a white party on the Mondays. That looked pretty dope when it was being set up, but we didn't go. As we approached the weekend, it got insanely busy, but this was not down to the increased guests at the hotel. It looked like the hotel sells passes for the locals or for the people of the Dominican Republic on the weekends, so they have access to all the amenities, mainly the water park and the swimming pools. But this is a bit shitty, quite frankly, to those who have paid a lot of money to travel here, because all the facilities are rammed. There is longer waiting times for everything. The pool's rammed. They're playing, it's very loud. There's music everywhere, and it generally you lose that you're actually on vacation and relaxing, because there's quite a lot of movement everywhere when that happens. If I could give it one basic tip, they just needed a snack bar, really, that was open around the clock, or from 10 to 9, that literally just served chips or burgers, or literally something really basic. And like I say with the Bites place, that pretty much was what it needed, but it just literally needed to be open, because without it, if you're a bit peckish during the day, you're out of options. So let's go through the overall summary, statements and pros and cons. So my pretty much advice if you came would be to bring a cup, like a big cooler cup, so you don't have to use their small glasses and it can keep your drinks cold. And then bring salt and pepper. There is no salt and pepper in the Dominican Republic. They must have a shortage because the food needs it and there is none on the tables to add to the food. Tip before you place any order of anything at the bar and you'll get better service. Never ever have room service, it is shit. So the main cons that I had was the no salt. It's really annoying to have to ask for salt, even for stuff like french fries, and it's almost like you've asked them to go into the ocean, scoop up some seawater and then evaporate themselves, then package it into a glass jar and give it to you. They're not very polite when you ask for, simple things. And that pretty much describes this place down to a T. They over-promised and extremely under-delivered. The tiny simple things that you may take for granted at normal places, they do not do well, and they try to do these very extravagant things like their room service ordering and their TV system, which would be amazing if it worked, but you're left just really pissed off and disappointed, especially with the room service, which is crap, the lack of food options during the day. So I would expect an all-inclusive. Say the worst case scenario would be just before 11 o'clock, and you're like, okay, I'm a bit peckish, what is there to eat? The answer is nothing. And that goes around 3 in the afternoon as well. What is there to eat? There's nothing. And then you have to wait till 5, and on some days your only option is I can have Italian food, or I can go to the Mexican restaurant, or I can order room service, which it probably isn't going to arrive. So it is pretty, bleak. But my advice to them would be, scrap all this fancy stuff. Just have a stand that serves chips and burgers all day, or something for the kids. I don't know what, if you took children here, I don't know what they would eat during the day. And scrap the room service and have a 24-hour little buffet place where people can go and get food. And if they'd have just done that, I'm sure it would be a lot cheaper for them to do that than advertise this 24-hour room service thing. I probably wouldn't be giving it so much stick. And, put salt on the fucking tables, that's not that hard. That was my main stickler. But yeah, my overall rating, it gets a 2 out of 5, and if it had just had salt, it got a full 1 star deducted. It would have been a 3 out of 5, but salt, 1 massive star deducted. But definitely won't come back here again. But if you've got kiddies, it does have a good water park, and maybe, they've got their facilities fixed, so they might have that burger bar open during the day. Anyway, see you on the next one.